Direct News TV. February 24, 2024. Israel's war on Gaza, bodies scattered on the road, in Rafah attack. A number of casualties were reported after Israeli jets targeted an area in Rafah, southern Gaza. At least 24 people were killed in Gaza's Deir el-Balah region when Israeli forces shelled a residence where displaced people were sheltering. More on Paris talks on Gaza ceasefire, release of captives. According to Israeli media reports, there are indications a deal has been reached in Paris that could see a 6-week pause in the fighting in Gaza in exchange for around 40 Israeli captives and hundreds of Palestinian prisoners to be released from Israeli jails. These are preliminary details, but Israeli officials are saying they are approaching this with cautious optimism. They say they now have an outline of a framework to move forward within the negotiations. Israel's delegation in Paris will present its report to Israel's war cabinet. But there are still a lot of sticking points, like which Israeli captives or Palestinian prisoners are going to be released, or how much humanitarian aid will be allowed into Gaza. The U.S. reportedly wants this deal to happen before the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which is just 2 weeks away. Progress in Paris talks on release of captives, Israeli media reports. Israeli media reports say an agreement has been reached on the release of the captives held by Hamas in Gaza in a meeting in Paris between the representatives of the U.S., Israel, Egypt, and Qatar. Citing 2 sources familiar with the contents of the talks, the Jerusalem Post said the war cabinet was expected to receive an update from the negotiating team and decide on further steps, which may happen as early as Saturday night. The progress of the negotiations depends on whether Hamas will agree to the new framework established at the meeting in Paris, one source said. Rafah bombing victims incinerated beyond recognition. The air raid, carried out, within the past hour took place on a very busy road leading to a market and hit a 2-story residential building. The area shook as if an earthquake hit it, there was complete destruction and fire everywhere. Cars were incinerated and people on the sidewalks were critically injured. Victims were also pulled from under the rubble of the building. 7 people were reported killed, 5 of whom have been identified. 2 of them could not be identified as they were incinerated beyond recognition. The victims have been taken to Al-Najjar Hospital. For 8 years, we tried to have him, family of baby killed in Israeli strike. Yasser al-Dalou's parents had waited 8 years to have their child. Now, the 4-month-old is dead. I struggled so much to be able to have him, Noor al-Dalou, Yasser's grieving mother, told the Reuters news agency. Yasser was born not long after Israel attacked Gaza last year. He was killed along with 21 others when the house they were in was struck by Israeli missiles on Friday. His small body is wrapped in a shroud inside a morgue. 14 children, including Yasser, 4 women, and 4 men were killed in the attack on a house owned by the family of Mahmoud Abu Zaider, a comedian with 1.2 million online followers. Their house in Deir el-Balah was where Yasser and his parents were sheltering after they fled Gaza City at the start of the war. We were sitting, and suddenly the rubble fell on our heads. I don't know how the missiles fell, I was holding the child, in my embrace. I was telling Noor, look at your son, I started nudging the baby and moving him, slapping him so he could cry, but he didn't, he was still, said Rasha Abu Zaider, Yasser's grandmother. Al-Aqsa struggles to cope with the inflow of Deir el-Balah victims, Dr. Dozens of victims of an Israeli strike on a residence where displaced people were sheltering in central Gaza's Deir el-Balah area are being transferred to the nearby Al-Aqsa hospital. Dr. Khalil Aldigran said the medical facility has received many dead and injured, most of whom were women and children. We expect to receive many more by the ambulances that are still at the site, he told Al Jazeera. We are not equipped to receive such large numbers of victims, he said, adding that the strike was part of Israel's genocide against our people. Erdogan slams UN, West for just watching crimes in Gaza. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has criticized the UN and Western countries for just watching the humanitarian crimes committed by Israel in Gaza, the Anadolu news agency reports. Neither Western powers or the UN Security Council have made a useful effort to prevent Israeli violence, Erdogan was quoted as saying at a meeting of the Justice and Development (AK) party in Turkey's northwestern province of Sakarya. He decried the UN Security Council's inability to impose an immediate ceasefire after the US vetoed a draft resolution, prompting widespread criticism from rivals and allies alike. The U.S. veto on Tuesday was the third UNSC resolution demanding a ceasefire in Gaza and came a day after Washington circulated a resolution that would support a temporary ceasefire linked to the release of all Israeli captives from the Palestinian enclave. Hamas warns Israel against Al-Aqsa Mosque restrictions once again. Hamas has warned Israel about its plans to restrict access to the Al-Aqsa Mosque during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Let our enemy know that souls are boiling. Our anger is imminent, and an explosion is coming in response to any restrictions on the entry of Muslims to Al-Aqsa Mosque during the month of Ramadan, Hamas wrote on its Telegram page, according to the Jerusalem Post report. We call on the people of our Palestinian people in the occupied territories, Jerusalem and the West Bank, to escalate the confrontation of the occupation everywhere, the Palestinian group had written in an earlier post. Dead horses, scraps, leaves, Gaza's hungry get desperate. At the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza, Abu Jibril is so desperate for food to feed his family that he slaughtered 2 of his horses. We had no other choice but to slaughter the horses to feed the children. Hunger is killing us, the 60-year-old told the AFP news agency. Food is running out, with aid agencies unable to get into the area because of the bombing and attacks on the few trucks that try to get through. Residents have taken to eating scavenged scraps of rotten corn, animal fodder unfit for human consumption and even leaves to try to stave off the growing hunger pangs. The WFP said its teams reported unprecedented levels of desperation, while the UN warned that 2.2 million people were on the brink of famine. We the grown-ups can still make it, but these children who are 4 and 5 years old, what did they do wrong to sleep hungry and wake up hungry? Jibril said. Israeli officer who shot male Adumim attacker opposes arms policy. An Israeli army officer hailed as a hero for shooting a Palestinian attacker near the male Adumim settlement has spoken out against calls from members of the government to distribute more arms to Israeli citizens. 23-year-old Hanania Ben Shimon said in a post on X that he did not want to be used to promote divisive or aggressive discourse, to push the policy of arming as many civilians as possible for a quick response to security incidents. Politicians need to find a better solution because a gun is a band-aid, he said. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir said following the attack on Thursday that a disaster was averted thanks to armed police and civilians and that it was clear that guns save lives. Casualties reported in Rafah airstrike. We're getting reports that at least 7 people have been killed and several others wounded in the attack in Rafah. The area that was hit is on a busy road leading to a market. More on the Israeli airstrike in Rafah. We're hearing that a house was targeted by Israeli aircraft in the vicinity of Al-Dakhiliya Street in the Al-Janina neighborhood, which is in southern Rafah. We still do not have a casualty figure but will continue to bring you developments on this and everything else in Gaza as soon as we can. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.